G'day viewers, my name's Graham Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists do what they do.
Well, we are in Safety Bay in Western Australia at the studio of Ashley Hay and also the factory for Powertex art supplies. Ashley is the distributor of Powertex products in Australia and teaches a number of workshops using the many and varied products that Powertex makes. She also has a gallery displaying her work on the premises as well. The Powertex brand has a wide range of pigments, plaster figurines, styrofoams, coatings, varnishes and many other products for the creative mind. Ashley is also going to be showing us a number of techniques today using the Powertex products. From what I have seen, I think they look fabulous and I'm looking forward to seeing what she does today. All right, Ashley, well I can see that you've got a couple of pieces prepared there. So how do we go through this and how do we best use Powertex in this situation?
So I love creating beautiful surfaces. So this is one of my favourite things to do. It's actually a workshop that I run and really in this it's just exploring the materials. So we're going to choose our favourite colour to work with and then we're going to do some stenciling and work through the process. So I'm going to show you the whole kit and caboodle today and I hope you love it and I hope you're as excited about it as I am. So you can see here I've got a range of pieces. So this one has been done in red and I love to finish the pieces off with resin at the end. So yeah, so I just thought I'd show you a couple of colours. So I'm going to do a blue one today and blue is blue but then it actually isn't blue because we have a bit of a surprise once we put the final colouring on. So it is going to totally transform as we go through the piece. So I'm going to get started right now. So we're going to start with some blue Powertex, which I've already painted on this end, and some ivory Powertex. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a blended layer. So the Powertex basically behaves exactly like an acrylic paint. So it is going to dry darker than it actually looks when you pour it out. So I've actually already put some just into a container to make it a bit easier for myself. So before you use it, you do give it a good stir and make sure that it is ready to go. So I've already done that. So I'm going to pop a little bit of the blue Powertex out and I'm going to work with two palettes. So the lighter palette is for mixing the lighter end and then obviously the one with the most dark colour will be for mixing the dark end. So really, really simple. Oops, bit of an overspill. And we'll just take that. And so what I'm doing is I'm just basically going to grade through. So I'm just going to do a second coat. You will find that the blue Powertex is quite translucent, so you might even need to do a couple of coats before you start. So I'm just basically working a tonal scale and I've got quite a good blend there now.
But you're a multidisciplined artist right across the board, Ashley, and you do graphics, plein air, contemporary expressionist style, you know, pictures like View from Promenade, Racine, the Chittering Acres, and there's 3 of those, 1, 2 and 3, which is obviously your plein air work as well. And then back to Powertex. So we really have to thank Brigitte Grade as well from Brussels in Belgium. She is the CEO of Powertex and distributed in 32 countries, by the way. So it's an amazing product and there's so many people that use it these days.
Yeah, absolutely. So over 32 countries, I believe now. I think it was 32 back a few years ago. So yeah, so it's really incredible and it does have massive reach. And yeah, I do plein air painting. It's actually something that I do just for fun. I absolutely love it. And it just keeps my eye in for my more abstract work that I do in the studio.
So you do workshops all over the country doing this as well, and there are other people that actually teach Powertex products as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. So it's one of the things that I love doing. I think next to creating myself, I love inspiring people to create. And so yes, there are other people that run Powertex workshops around Australia as well. And I also do go Australia-wide.
Now, as part of your journey as well, you also got a Bachelor of Arts from Curtin University and also a Diploma of Education, so you're a pretty well-rounded lady by any means.
I've definitely studied, and I think one of my favourite experiences with art and art education was actually high school. I loved doing special art I was part of the special art program at Applecross High School. And, some of the mentors that I had at that time were just awesome. Digby De Bruin and Rosemary Wallace, just absolutely amazing people. And I know they're both still involved in the Perth art scene as well. So you can see I'm nearly finished the blending. So it's not perfect, but there you go, it's done. So essentially the idea is to get it so that it's a perfect scale that runs through. At the end of the day, with what I'm doing today, it's not going to matter that much because I'm going to obliterate it with colour.
Cool.
So
I like the way you said that.
So this one is actually dried off, which is just excellent in terms of speed. So
okay.
It's nice and dry. Now, it doesn't take long to get touch dry, so just half an hour in the sun or 20 minutes. I'm a bit of I love things to get done quickly, so I usually have 3 or 4 things on the go at once, and so that I don't have to wait for things to dry. So using the easy structure, which I love because it dries so fast, it's awesome. And I've got one of my favourite stencils here, and the reason I like this one so much is because there is actually a lot of variation in the size of the actual stencil itself.
And you actually sell these stencils as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, lots of them. It's just
Pretty much anything I use, I like to have available for people, because I generally find, that if I'm teaching it in a workshop, then people are going to want to use it at home. So I just try and make everything easy for people. So kind of like the one-stop shop, if you like.
Yeah, but you've got so many products out there, and it's probably the largest studio we've ever walked into.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool space. I do love working here. And I feel very blessed every day I walk in to have an arty business and be able to inspire people to create.
I actually really love your graphic series on the fishes. I think they're great. And you've got one called Fish Circus. They're just beautiful pieces, they really are.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, they're just stunning.
They were actually inspired from Coral Bay. If you haven't been up there, that you've got to put it on your bucket list for a place to visit once in your lifetime, because it is just one of the most incredible places. So I've done a lot of snorkeling and diving, and so usually what I love to do of the evening once the sun goes down is do a bit of art. So what we're going to do next is we're going to use some easy 3D flex, which is absolutely amazing. If you love texture for your artwork, the Powertex is absolutely awesome. This is where it just comes into its own. So what the 3D Flex is it's a super fine powder that is just absolutely fabulous for creating texture with. I need my spatulas. And as you can see, I don't really wear gloves. The Powertex is water wash up, so it's really, really, really easy to use. So what I do need to do is I'm going to use the same base colour as I've got in here in my actual piece. So I might actually just use up some of what I've already got in the cup. I don't waste anything. So even though I'm the importer and I've got bucket loads of product, I still make sure that I use every last skerrit. So now I'm actually just putting a little bit of a sprinkle of the 3D Flex onto the top of the surface, and what it does is it creates a sort of runny mix that you can use. So the reason I love this so much is because you can create a runny mix or a more viscous mix, or you can even make a clay with it. And so now I get to just play, and this is my favourite part, because especially when I'm doing a demonstration, I don't worry about composition, I don't worry about why I'm doing it, anything like that. So usually if I am doing an art piece, I would be giving more thought to it, and I can just really play with a little bit of a mix. If you are doing an artwork, then obviously you would just do it with a bit more thought. So if you're doing a landscape, you take your texture into it in the same way. So I'm just going to pop in a bit more powder so that we get a stiffer mix. Okay, so you can see how I'm stirring this up, and it's still a little bit runny, but see how it's got a lot more body to it. So this is a bit more of a stiffer mix. So this is why I love this product, is because you've got control over how thick or how thinly you actually use it. So depending on what you're applying it to, like I say, whether it's a landscape or, you know, whether you're creating rocks, whatever your purpose for the texture is. So with this mix, I can just literally be a little bit more controlled about how I actually put it on there, and I can play around with the actual medium as well. So using that elasticity, and I can kind of lift it, flick it, move it, twirl it, do all sorts of lovely things with it. So you can see I've got a nice flow happening on here. It is very structural now, and at that point I can actually get some of the 3D sand and balls, which are really, really nice to use. And what these are is they're basically absorbent texture, and they're just really nice to work with because they will absorb any colour that you're actually putting down. It's really nice because it has all different sizes that we can pop in. And the smallest size in the sand and balls is almost like a seed bead, for those of you who know what they are.
So Powertex makes all of these products to go along with it?
So especially all the textural stuff that I'm using. So, yep, sand and balls. There we go.
Varying sizes too.
So one of the products that I haven't used from the sand and ball range is actually the sand. It's not like real sand, it's a finer, grittier sand. So if you are doing something like rust effects, it's super to put in the mix. It really grits up the texture, so that's quite exciting.
If you wanted to, you could add other acrylics to this.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the really exciting thing is that Powertex is a water-based material, and so you can add any other water-based material to it, of course, and all the colours in the Powertex range will actually intermix. So I can get the red and blue and ivory and mix a gorgeous purpley lilac-y colour in the Powertex. So I guess one of the things I'm asked quite often is, you know, why would I bother to use Powertex over something else? And I think for me, what I love about it is that it's just so experimental. I've been using the Powertex for nearly 10 years now, and I'm still discovering new things with it.
So you've got some other pieces here called Tree Cathedral. It's almost like there's an iridescent opaline or shell. Looks like an oyster shell in the effects. Amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And that's still done with the Powertex products, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the piece Tree Cathedrals, that actually was the beginning of my Tree Stories exhibition, which I had last year, but then I decided to go with the entire exhibition in black and white. And so next, coming up, I'm going to do more very colourful works, larger pieces. So I'm just going to finish the clay off. And the nice thing is now that I can actually handle it, and the great thing with the clay is when you put it down, you're going to get the most incredible impressions in it. So I'm just, normally, of course, I wouldn't just put it down in a bit of a lump. I would actually give it some thought, but at least this way you're going to see how you can put a few impressions like shells or any other found textures that you might have into your artwork really super easily. So if I didn't have any Powertex down on my surface already, I could just add a little bit of Powertex in under there. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get a little bit of textural stuff. So I've got a few bits over here. These are really cheap stampy textures, which are actually really good to use. You can use things, that's a pool cover, there's a shell there, and I can also press stencils into that, and the stencils will actually press through dimensionally. So if I had a bigger surface area of the clay, I can actually do that, which is super interesting. So I just get whatever I'm using to create
Scallop shell.
Texture.
How about that?
And just literally push that in there. It's pretty cool, isn't it? So that's the Easy 3D Flex, an amazingly awesome, versatile product when you mix it with the Powertex to make an air-dried clay directly onto your piece.
So where do we go after this?
So we're going to actually put some this crackle effect onto it.
Vista.
So with the Vista.
Yeah. Sounds great.
So it's one of, I always say, if you haven't had fun yet, the fun is yet to come, because the Vista is like magic. It is just so beautiful. You are going to love this. So I've got ivory Powertex in here, and I'm going to just follow along here. And again, you know, I'm working very randomly because it is just a demonstration. We've got a little bit of ivory Powertex splashed on there in various thicknesses, because where the ivory is thin, we're going to get a thin crackle effect, and where the ivory is thicker, we're going to get a thicker crackle effect. Now I've got the Vista just in some little mini mister bottles, and there's 7 colours in the Vista. So essentially what the Vista is it is a patina, and so I have mixed the Vista powder into a liquid form, and it's very, very simple to do. So simply 1 teaspoon of Vista to 100 mils of distilled water, and then you put it in your little sprayers.
So you've got some other pieces here, Earth's Find and Desert Sands, and you also actually have teaching DVDs that show people how to do these varying techniques as well. So if they wanted to get those DVDs, they can come and see you at your website as well.
Absolutely, the DVDs are actually brilliant. So they're done, the painting DVD is by Brigitte Grade, and it's really detailed. It will give you just more confidence to go away and really create. And yeah, it's excellent. And it's very easy to follow.
Yeah, lots of great information. But the question I think is how did you get started with Powertex? How did that all come about?
When I first tried it, I just went, oh my goodness, the things I could do with this. And so I ended up playing with it in my artwork, and then the opportunity came up to become the importer, and I went, well, if I love it, other people are going to love it too. So yeah, my hope is that people get inspired to create with this awesome product, because it is just amazing. So I'm going to crackle this now using the hairdryer. So what happens is magic. So as you can see, what's happening now is where the ivory Powertex was thicker, you've got bigger cracks, and where it was finer, you've got smaller cracks.
And we've also got another amazing technique that you would like to show us, and that's using the foam core that you use and then cutting sections of it out. So, and then using the Powertex for that. So let's have a look at that.
Awesome.
All right, well, I'm going to sit on this one this time and find out really what you're doing. But you've got some foam core here and you've made an illustration. So how do you go about getting that to this, and then where do we go from there?
So essentially like you said, I've started with the drawing and then I've transferred it onto the surface. So this drawing and this image is actually part of one of my pieces, the Warrior Woman.
Yes.
And I've just taken a section of it and reproduced it onto here. So I do use heat tools on the styrofoam. So the really important thing when you're working with heat tools and styrofoam obviously is looking after your health, making sure that you are well ventilated, working in a well ventilated space, or wearing a few masks.
But we're not going to be doing too much of it today. You're just going to see a small demonstration. That's why I don't have a mask.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see that I've already cut out a couple of little areas here.
Yes.
So I'm going to show you how we will do that.
Okay.
And it's one of those things where you want to take away enough but not take away too much.
Sure.
It's that balance.
And you cover this with Powertex at the end of it too, don't you? And it sort of goes a bit rock hard, doesn't it?
Exactly.
And this is just a soldering iron, is it?
This is just a soldering iron, so I've got a few different tools that I use. I quite like, as I'm doing it, I can create different textures depending on the way that I use it to carve. And then, as I say, as well as the soldering iron, I've got other tools which will do finer areas of carving, and then you've just got to work out, you know, what
Where
section you're going to take away. So I won't do much more than that, otherwise we'll be
on the ground.
So that's essentially the process. Once that has been done, I use my trusty Dremel, which is over here, to actually, you can see on there I've got an engraving tool on there, so I will actually engrave some of the finer points as well.
Okay.
Sometimes I use a Stanley trimmer, and then I put the sanding head on and actually sand it all as well. So there is quite a long process involved in doing these pieces.
But I think actually the piece behind us, I think is just quite incredible, because you can see where you put the Powertex on. I mean, this looks like an old tree ring off a stump, but all the cracking that it's done through this, and you'd swear to God that just came out of a giant tree somewhere in a redwood forest. It's just incredible. Now, if somebody wanted to come and do your workshops with you, and you guys are actually in 32 or more countries.
Absolutely.
You've got teachers all over Australia, but you are the boss, you are the distributor in Australia for Powertex.
Yep.
If they want to come along and do some workshops with you, where do they go to? What's the website?
So powertex.com.au, you'll find all the information you need to find there about the products. There's a few videos on how to do things, and please contact me if you have any questions or you can't find anything.
That's fantastic, and come along and be part of this, because I intend on using a lot of these products myself, because I just think they're great. I see great ideas that are developing that I know that I can utilise with as well. But we've had a great day. Thank you so much for being in your studio.
Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. It's
really
been
cool.
a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's been great, and I just think this is fascinating. If you want more information and you want to see what we're doing, you can come to colorinyourlife.com.au and come and see us in YouTube and in Facebook. We have had an absolutely amazing trip. Western Australia is a beautiful part of the world, particularly Safety Bay. And we're going to head off. And remember, as we always say, guys, make sure you put some foam and some colour in your life. We'll see you next time, guys. Bye now.
See ya.
Bye.